Hello. So, with the amount of people that we had in that last one, it doesn't even make any sense why we only see this number unless we already have some bullshittery, which is the case in every single stream because YouTube has scammed my channel and broken it to be different than everybody else's because instead of doing something about the people that were harassing me on the platform, what they did was silently protect stalkers and harassers, all while I was complaining about it very vividly, very loud. They allowed these people to harass, stalk, and they caused problems for my relationship, my real life relationship when I first started, very clearly. They very clearly got involved with trying to meddle in my life in general. But, very clearly these people, try to traffic people. That's what they want to do. They want to traffic criminals to join them. So, YouTube, instead of admitting that they were wrong and doing something to report this and stuff, they were realizing how much money they were going to have to pay out. And so they just sat here and protected stalkers and, again, anybody that's committing crimes on the platform to stalk, harass, and otherwise spy on, yes, even teenagers. That's right. Because when YouTube is willing to sweep this under the rug with me, oh, I guarantee you, when people's kids are involved, they are absolutely sweeping everything under the rug and trying to pin it on anybody they possibly can where it's not them. It's their platform. They have to stop it. They have to report it. They are liable legally. No. Criminals still commit crimes, so they are still liable for the crimes they committed, but no, I mean, you guys know I had a network of streamers as soon as they found out about me follow me around. And even before that, this person that did this knew about me long before any of this happened. He's been sitting here behind the scenes ever since I started, where I mentioned how I started streaming with 0 people and stuff like that. That didn't happen. It's not supposed to happen. You normally would get people. I started that way. All the time streaming to 0 people and stuff like that. It's not actually supposed to be the case for the most part. I mean, some people get that, the luck of the draw, but for the most part, you're going to have, I mean, people are going to watch you if you're a real person and you're streaming. Because there's so much scamming bullshit on this platform. And even back then there was that, you're a real person streaming, they're going to keep watching you. You're just a person sitting there and you're actually, so it's always about the camera, breaking the camera, making sure I stream without the camera, stuff like that. Originally it was that, trying to make sure I do enough streaming without the camera that behind the scenes they can lie enough to authorities and make it seem like some sort of scammy thing or something like that, even though it's not. Because here I am. Still. With a scam channel. Now, why do I have this map up? What are we talking about? Well, you see, when the government reacts a certain way because you disabled, you essentially disabled their ability to spy on your CPU. Look, man, this stuff's plain as day. They're already doing this. It's right in front of you every day that you go out onto the streets, you go driving. You are illegally surveilled. This is illegal, highly illegal in the United States. Your rights are being violated every day. Senators, judges, police, everybody. Just so that China can spy on you. Back in the 80s, this would have been a sci-fi movie. They would have had Flock come out as like this company, working with the Chinese, it's all Chinese made stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so they put little components in there, little hardware driver components that just they can see everything that Flock can see. And this is the company where, like they pay a bunch of money to the senator and like a super PAC or something like that, Republican senator, where they're corrupt already, and they're a role in the movie, they're the senator, and they're likable, and hey, shoot, we're gonna do that, as long as we got a southern accent, you listen to every fucking thing I say, you won't give a shit, question a goddamn thing I tell you. You're gonna listen to everything I say because, goddamn it, I sound like America. And that's all I gotta do is come out here, sound like I got a southern accent, and you'll listen to every goddamn thing I have to say, because you know what? America's strong. That's it. You want to hear every fucking thing I have to say now, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's a character in the movie, and the super PAC gets sold to him by Flock, so he doesn't read it. He doesn't know what the fuck's in it. Yeah. Just signs it. Oh, this is gonna make me this made me real rich, right? All right. And was this like cameras, some surveillance system the police can use to catch bad guys? Shoot, that sounds great. Where do I sign? Signs it. That's how it's presented. And meanwhile, about 1 million cameras later. I mean, this is 100,000 right here, but meanwhile, about 1 million cameras later, we zoom in, and even if we go to like a city like let's go to you know what? Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta. And that's Atlanta right here. You can't even read the title of the city. There's so many freaking cameras. What is this? I can't even see it. Atlanta's somewhere around here, right? I think that's Atlanta. So, okay. These are all cameras. And they're tied to the police departments. And what they're doing is Again, we're not talking about just traffic cameras. These things watch you go in and out of Walmart. They watch you go in and out of the park. They watch you at your house. Here's one in a neighborhood right here. Um, they're illegally surveilling you everywhere you go. If they're pointed at your property, that's incredibly illegal, insanely, entirely illegal. You're just regularly every day recording somebody's property and violating their rights and in so many different ways. Um, but it's illegal surveillance. If we go up here to the Boston area, there's not as many, but they still have them. And so what this is again, most of the time I see them like this outside fast food places and stuff like that. What you have to realize though is while it sounds good to a cop on the surface, the reality is that any moron can hack into these things. They're Wi-Fi available attached to a damn solar panel on a pole in the ground. Okay, so somebody walking by with a cell phone can hack that thing. Not only that, it's in a grid, it's in a system. I have it right here. I don't need to hack it. I have all the information right here. And so like the point is, the person that made this available to us and stuff like that is trying to bring attention to that. That the point is that this violates your rights and it's very easily hackable. Any moron on the planet can hack into this. So the whole point is, of course, foreign intelligence, of course, governments are spying on us all over the planet and tracking us and meddling with our everyday lives. Of course they are. Of course they are. They make it illegal to listen to fucking K-pop. Guys, it's illegal. Man, you listen to a Super Junior song. Oh my god. Yep. This is capital punishment. It is. They're gonna get the Coliseum out on you and everything. They have Coliseums in North Korea, I swear to God. They do. They don't give you a fair chance. It's not like, all right, we're gonna bring in the gladiators and give them weapons. No, they just shoot you in front of everybody, and everybody must clap. You literally, I swear to God, you have to be like, or you're gonna get picked out of the crowd and you're gonna get shot next. Swear to God. So you really think they're not gonna meddle in our everyday lives when we got people streaming and they want to control us? But our government's so fucking stupid. They don't know what's going on. They're just selling them our data. Oh, it's fine. You know, it's look, you know, as Trump said, you know, there's a lot of things that we do to you that you don't know about. This is an actual Donald Trump quote, by the way, while coming back from China and then giving them the deal that literally all NVIDIA chips now go through fucking China before the US. That's real. And what the fuck is that? Why isn't anybody talking about this? Why is Midas Touch the only network with the balls to report the fact that Donald Trump is literally Putin and assassinating people that are going to testify about the war? You're the only ones that I saw reporting on that. Yeah. Props to Midas Touch. By the way, I wanted to say shout out to them too. Thank you for using a little snippet of something Steve Lookner posted, because I really like Agenda Free, and I think Steve is a really good guy, and I love the fact that they used a post from him. It said Steve Lookner and actually referenced his post on one of their videos. So I forget exactly which one it was, but it's pretty recent. So thank you for doing that. That was really nice of you to do that. And The point is, why are they the only ones with the balls? Caitlin Collins got some balls. I'll give her that. She's got some cojones, man. Yeah. Caitlin Collins does, for sure. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, there's some I see. I like CNN. I don't have any problem with CNN. I like CNN, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that the orange fuck in charge is literally giving everything to China. Do you remember when he won and they had all that meeting? Do you remember? Do you remember? And we were watching it. Some of you were here for it. Remember? And I was watching it with you. Remember? Do you remember what we saw? No, I wasn't reacting to it. I was watching it separately, and I think I was talking about it, sort of like I normally do. Do you remember what we saw? You're not gonna leave here and get me a copyright, just to let you know. Do you remember what we saw? Yeah, I got a copyright in the last like 5 minutes of that WoW stream I did. Yeah, for the music. Last 5 minutes, that little tiny snippet of music. Yeah, that's a scam. The whole stream's copyrighted now. Scam. Remember when the bitrate went to nothing? They hacked. Yeah, shortly before that. Yeah, it's a scam. Do you remember what? Do you remember what was there? Oh, I see the confetti. Oh, we went back and we spotted it, didn't we? Yeah, they had their little win thing. Do you remember what was hanging over the entire convention area where they were and they were meeting? Do you remember what they put? And we were like, what the fuck is that? And even people in the chat were like calling it out. We're like, what the fuck is that? Should be an American flag up there. I swear to God, they had a circular screen. It was red with a single fucking star. It's literally it's the fucking Chinese flag. May as well just say China's putting their fucking flag up there. Notice how Trump was trying to separate himself from it too? He was wearing those red ties a lot. Now he's wearing more blue ones and stuff. Why are we hitting confetti? It was all kinds of 100% and stuff before. Oh, now it's confetti. Hold on a sec here. Intel platform monitoring technology. Intel platform monitoring technology. Oh. What the fuck what the hell is that? Yep. Yep. sitting in your Windows device manager, if you have an Intel CPU, you will literally see amongst all the ridiculous bullshit that's in there, you will see Intel platform monitoring technology. What the fuck is that? Why is that in there? Why is it that the more that we get into the future with all this technology, the more the FPS drops, the more we don't have it, the more, because they're spying on it. Because it causes these problems where when they spy on it, your device takes the performance hit, not theirs. Now, theirs is already doing that. So now what they're doing is activating something built into your device to spy on it. Because again, they worked with that manufacturer to build a spying tool into your device. So, with that being said, and we know what we know about Microsoft, they bought Activision Blizzard. They're buying everybody. They randomly buy power plants, apparently. So they own LinkedIn. A lot of people don't know that. And so what are they doing? Well, here's the scam. And Microsoft's been doing this a long time. They've been sabotaging their own shit for a long time. Here's what they're doing. They are using that data as they spy on you to break your shit. If you're a streamer or you're somebody that relies on like one PC or something like that, and it's good, it actually works just fine, they intentionally bog it down and break it so that way you think you need a second one, so that they can sell more copies of Windows and make shitloads of money off selling their shit fucking operating system that never fucking works. And something tells me before, what happened is they had to offer these free upgrades to everybody because the FBI, under a competent administration, caught them and said, if you don't want us to go public with this, you need to show us a sign of good faith. You need to give everybody like free upgrades across the board. You're going to give everybody this product for free, and you're going to develop it and give it to them for free. That's the good faith, because you just screwed everybody on your last product, sold all their data, all this shit. Something tells me that already happened. So Microsoft did what they were supposed to do, but when Trump came along, and this guy's a fucking criminal and they know it, he helped them, and they used him. Where he's a fucking retard, and he is going to have incompetent retards in the FBI. So they're not going to do anything about this, first of all, but they're also incompetent, secondly. So some tells me all that Microsoft has to do is when Trump looks into that and finds out, his dumbass people look into that and find out what happened. All that Microsoft has to do is say, oh, well, woke ass Obama or something like that, yada yada yada. You know, they just got to spin it the same way Trump does, and they'll think it's funny and get on board. And so now they'll get on board with the fact that Microsoft is just gonna let them fucking spy on you and stuff like that, and they'll spin it whatever the fuck way that they want, where it is this way, and the competent FBI that's there now, or incompetent, I'm sorry, the incompetent FBI that's there now doesn't fucking understand it. They're so goddamn stupid, they don't understand it. And so endlessly, Microsoft is fucking their shit up too, breaking their shit, hacking into their shit, lying to them, using them. But again, all of it is just to save face, where originally this is how they always were. They got caught. So now they're reverting back now that they can. It's literally that simple. Literally that basic. So, Microsoft is like, again, Windows has been fucking trash. The entire Windows 11 experience is garbage. It's literal garbage. Literal goddamn fucking garbage. There were several times where I got Gemini to admit that Windows and YouTube are both trash. And again, I didn't even actually like do anything or ask them, are they trash? Is this trash? Or even, no, like, it's the sort of thing where, like, there was one time I said that and it agreed, but there were other times where, like, it offered that. It actually, like, offered that. And I'm like, oh. Oh, you say oh. And then basically at a certain point it became obvious that the AI, the Gemini AI that I was interacting with was just essentially being manipulated by either the FBI themselves or a foreign government. Where, like, it became obvious that, like, like, it's the sort of thing where, like, it sounds exactly like the way a troll would respond to something. You get what I'm saying? Where um it's the socially engineered thing that they're trying to convince my audience of. And so therefore this is what they got the AI to say to me a shitload of times. You get what I'm saying? Where it would respond that way. So the point is that, like, an AI doesn't know that. An AI is not gonna, take some sort of personal or, it's the sort of thing where, like, it would have to be told to kind of react that way. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just gonna give an answer. Like, it doesn't, So I think it's hilarious that, like, it's just blatantly the opposite of exactly like what an affirmative machine, like a computer and AI, would actually do, where it's clearly somebody actually, like, programming the responses to be very to be very triggering, actually, on purpose. So again, an AI is not going to do that. That doesn't even make any sense. An AI would be de-escalating on purpose. You're like, it was the sort of thing where it was like, everything... It was essentially doing everything that, like, where that... I told you there's a checklist of things that this scammer that's doing now on my channel thinks that they got about me that I don't like. Remember when I told you, like, you know, they initially just got a bunch of stuff where I gave them information, but I knew what they were doing, so I gave them a bunch of random shit so that I could use that. So the point is that, like, it was actually just literally all those things. Just all at once. Like, the whole time. So, like, you get what I'm saying? Where I fixed the issue with the stuttering and stuff like that, and talked about that. You get what I'm saying? So then, obviously, when the normal means don't work, I'm just going to other tools and stuff like that. But it just sits here and goes through, like, everything I already have done a million times. You know? Like, basic stuff. And then... I'll send it a picture of what my screen looks like so that it knows how to reference what I'm talking about. And then 2 messages later, it'll say something, it'll tell me to go somewhere and do something that's not on my screen. I'm like, why are you telling me to do something that's not on my fucking screen when I just sent you a picture of what my screen looks like? You literally know what it looks like. How the fuck are you telling me wrong? And I swear to God, it's only like 2 or 3 messages ago that I sent this, and it goes, I get things wrong because I can't see what your screen looks like. I have no idea what's on your screen. And actually said that, was defensive. AIs don't do that. Yeah, like, it literally was mimicking human behavior. And this was Gemini. And so the point is, I went on and you know, obviously I'm like, yes, you did. I literally have just spent hours with you in this conversation. I sent you several pictures several times of what my screen looks like. You're telling me that you forgot? And then it actually, like, responded with some bullshit thing about how it doesn't know what my screen looks like. It hasn't gotten any single message from me. We only just started talking. We haven't been talking for the past 6 hours. Yeah, somebody's, like, literally just looping its memory and clearing its logs. So, like, again, the thing that YouTube should be doing for me to help me, they're doing to harm instead. Yeah. So I know I've talked about this before, but my channel is pretty scammed, and I got this person to surface that's doing a lot of this. But again, you know, it's still YouTube that's allowing it, so, like, you know, it's still their platform. But, you know, my my YouTube does not look normal. Doesn't look the way it's supposed to. Um when I'm over here, my stream key, this is where my stream key is, just right here for everybody to see. There are no resets, there are no, like, edits or anything. Literally just 2 buttons that would make it very easy for a scammer to just sit here and copy the stream key. This is literally what my YouTube has always fucking looked like since they switched it to the new thing. So again, if I'm in here, all this information, instead of being on this screen where it used to be, where it was way up here and this was not a gigantic fucking thing, they put it on this screen on purpose so that you would accidentally leak your stream key. They did that on purpose, and I talked about that. I showed you that, where these were on separate streams. And if you leak this thing on the left here, which I have, and it was leaked long before I did that, the point is that anybody can sit here and mess around with your stream and get into your YouTube account. That is how your account gets scammed. And YouTube sits here and permanently has this very easy fucking HTML code. So you can never reset it. Some people are just permanently scammed like this. There's no reset button, no edit, nothing. Nothing. It's just that. And then on these two lines, literally just my stream key and the backup server. Yep. Yep. And I can go through and see that I've had the same stream key on OBS for years. But when I used XSplit and I actually paid for a service, they had a stream key in there all the time. And I also found out it was XSplit that was causing the problem where they were capping that resolution. They were intentionally typing this into my stream key and causing the system to misrepresent the quality and the you know, the stuff behind my stream, where some of that is tied to the settings of your stream. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into all of it, but you know, basically it's the sort of thing where it was obvious to me as I was looking through that yeah, I was right about that. Where there's a scammer working for XSplit that's doing this. I was right about that. And the point is that again, they are like, you know, a weird fucking scammer that does these things, but the point is they do work for XSplit. And they did contact me from a random email account that didn't make any sense. Like a very scammy thing where they clearly had a very scam XSplit email separate from other XSplit email people that I would recognize. So like it was obvious to me this person has fake credentials in plenty of these companies, and these companies don't do anything about it. Like they're this fucking stupid. So like again, this person has credentials for YouTube, for XSplit, probably all these different companies, Microsoft. And these people are so goddamn fucking stupid. They're letting this person do this. And just literally attack people. So the point is, I got this person to surface, but I was actually right about all that. Where, yeah, it was XSplit. Remember how like malicious and nasty that things used to get when I initially used to say that way back? We'd have so many dislikes. We'd have the bitrate flying around all over the place. Things got really malicious when I used to talk about XSplit. And after my parting ways with them, and I told them in an email message that yeah, you know, again, remember they had my card. They kept my card on file even though I deleted it out of there. They had that information still. I deleted it and they brought it back and charged again, even though I deleted the card and didn't want it. The whole point was I was not going to renew. I was taking my card out and I was going to, they just had the auto renew that, yeah, like put my card information back in there somehow. And so I was very pissed to find out that XSplit is that disgusting of an organization that they save your card information. So if you take it out, they still have it. And that's what happened. And I contacted them and told them, no, I don't want your fucking service because I'm getting scammed through you fucking retards. So they literally, they refunded it and everything. But the point was I messaged them saying, look, I do not want your fucking XSplit trash caster, okay? Because it's fucking trash. And that was what I told them. And this scammer literally got very aggressive and disgusting after I did this. So, you know, a lot of that stuff I was right about. But the point is, it's just one person with a shitload of credentials. Where they're posing as, you know, oh, how could it be this? I mean, Jesus Christ, it's probably using a laptop. It's not that hard. That's what you guys have to realize about these cameras being everywhere. Think about what a bad actor like this would do with those cameras if they're doing this. And that's what they want. You know, this piece of shit showed up right around a trial just to dock somebody's information, just to misinform you, just to get you to be aware of something so that you are misinformed. Because the point is you don't know anything about that situation. Just like morons that sit here and talk about celebrities and stuff. You know very fucking little about that situation. Very, very fucking little. So shut the fuck up. You know, it's like all the people that like keep talking like all over the years, and people talk about like Chris Farley and stuff like that. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. You know? Like, you don't know yet that goddamn thing about the guy. So shut the fuck up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All this shit about this or that, you don't know anything about him, so shut the fuck up. He's just an actor. He's not filling a government role or something like that where we expect him to be of the utmost authority of himself and everybody around him. You know, we don't care because again, like he's just a person trying to do him. That's got nothing to do with you and me. Okay? We differentiate the two because you wouldn't the point is, like if somebody has their own problems, they got their own problems. You don't fucking talk about that. Everybody's got problems, everybody's got shit they deal with. That's your own shit. Okay? But suddenly if you're having, you know, like you're a goddamn cop and you can't control yourself, where somebody flicks you off out the window and says fuck the police, and you're such a stupid piece of shit that you must go after you got to get in your car, and you are so rageful that you're going to go flying down the road with your lights on, get people to move out of your way, waste tax dollars time, you know, because again, you could be down the road watching the Walmart that the flock cameras are watching instead of you, where the drug deal is going on. But instead, you're flying down the road at whatever speed you're flying at because somebody pissed you off by saying fuck the police. Do you want that? Do you want that guy? I kind of want the guy that said fuck the police. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of want that guy. I think he kind of gets it. Because if you don't fucking laugh at that shit, if that happened to me and somebody literally yelled that out my window or out their window, and I was like on a stop or something, and I heard that shit, fuck the police, I'd be laughing my ass. I'd think that shit was fucking hilarious. I'd probably pull up the body cam later just to watch it and be like, you guys, you gotta hear this shit. You gotta watch this shit. This is fucking hilarious. Look, ready? I'm getting finished with my stop. Ready? He's about to come by. Fuck the police! Shit's fucking hilarious. But instead, you made a lawsuit out of it. Yeah. Because you're stupid. Yeah. I mean, like, that's just stupidity. And again, anybody that sits here and becomes enraged by that, you're stupid too. Because now you're being affected by my words. Stop it. Stop being so hateful. I'm telling you the fucking truth. Break this behavior. I shouldn't be able to trigger you so easily. Even the cop that admits that he's pulled over people, he's pulled people over for flicking them off before, admits while testifying, the same cop, I swear to God, admits while testifying to this and stuff like that, that he does not, a police officer doesn't have the ability to, he can't afford to be offended. Even he admits that. He doesn't have the right to be offended, essentially, is what he says. He doesn't. That's true. You do not possess the right to be offended as a police officer. You have to set that aside. You have backup. You have a bulletproof motorcade. Nothing's happening to you except in the very, very small extenuating circumstances anymore. You are militarized. You are. So a lot of a lot of this is education. All right. For example, why is it that in Pennsylvania and plenty other states, it is perfectly acceptable? This is totally fine to own a gun, right? You can have a gun that, again, this ends life. No question about it. This does it, okay? You can be good distance away, too. Okay? There's no question about it. It's a gun. That's what it does. It's unfair. There's no honor in it. The person doesn't have a chance. But a sword. Oh man, a fucking sword. Holy goddamn fucking shit. This thing, that's a weapon. We gotta do something about that. Nunchucks? Nunchucks? What the fuck is that? Nunchucks! Illegal! Illegal! Ah! Are are the judges all watching like Ninja Turtles movies or something? Like, are they like do they go to realultimatepower.net and like believe that shit? Are they like, oh my god, is there a ninja hiding? Do they do this? What, like, separate movies from reality, man. What do you think nunchucks do? Even if I hit you with it, what do you think that does? You're gonna get hit with it. You're not gonna die. If I hit you with a sword, do you think that's gonna kill you? Probably not. Probably not. There's a lot of places you get hit with a sword, but it ain't gonna do shit. I could sit here and run you through all the places it would, but I'm not gonna do that. So again, you gotta be very skilled to hit those places. And most people, they ain't got fucking shit, trust me. They'll brag all day long, but they cannot wield that fucking sword. They do not possess the dexterity. Trust me, it's dexterity. It ain't strength, it's dexterity, trust me. It is. They go hand in hand. It's the thing the games get wrong. You need dexterity for a sword. You probably swing a hammer, that'd be fine. Hammer, Morning Star. Axe would probably be okay. But yeah, sword, you ain't gonna do much with that without dexterity as in addition to your strength. So, just saying. There's barbarian classes where the person's like holding it with two hands and just like wielding it like correct. If you don't have flexibility, you ain't nah. Nah. It's all about angle, man. So, look, most of you don't know the law, and that's part of the issue. Look up some of those ridiculous laws where like in this random like this state there's obscure laws about owning a goat or something like that. Like this is there's a law about in this one state you can't have a goat in a bathtub. Now, look, that probably has something to do with the fact that like people like own goats in the area and we're bathing them and goats kick stuff. So you get what I'm saying? There's like an ordinance, probably they're having cleanups or something. I don't know, but like I'm sure there's some reason. Okay, this is how you become educated. You know, you don't just sit here and attack regulation just because it's they're trying to stop my free speech. The masks, you know, that has not, you know, it's not like, you know, spit comes out your mouth and this is germs. No, it's free speech. That's what, guys, it's totally, you know, there's not a fucking pandemic or anything, but you know, Jesus Christ, people. Now, do you know, you realize that surgeons and doctors wore masks before you have this propaganda bullshit where you're like, oh, there's a guy driving in a car with a mask on by himself. Let's make fun of him. What? Why? What? This is how wars start. Like, there's entire things where, like, people are just manipulating your stupid memed life for you to attack somebody just because they're wearing a mask alone in a car. Maybe they actually have an illness where the doctor told them, yeah, this actually, believe it or not, there's actually illnesses where it could be a contamination to the public, and you are told to do that for a period of time. As long as you do that, you're fine. And this is why we have the CDC and stuff like that, to make sure these warnings exist. Because people don't know. How would you know that? You're not a doctor. And then I see these people actually testifying and grilling Dr. Fauci. This poor guy. This poor guy. He's just literally a doctor during a time where there's a pandemic and the worst president, the most scamming dumbass president in history is the president. And that's it. Where anything that guy says, the president wants to step on it, because the point is this guy is trying to literally educate you about health and shit like that. God. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that he just, like, appeared out of thin air one day? That the government has, like, some sort of, like Jew manufacturing device that, like, they just pop these people out for you to sit here and make fun of them and stuff? No, it's the government. Jews are really smart. They don't fucking care that, you know, for the most part, that we use that stereotype, okay? There is a very still consistent Nazi thing going on that is suppressing Jews in this country. It's white people that agree with Nazism. You know, remember, this guy thought Hitler had some great ideas. Remember that. The guy that was literally a drug addict that was trying to take over the world. Okay? All right? And remember, he oppressed Jews who were literally just smart people that were speaking out against him. So we kicked him out, just like Trump's doing with Spanish people. Can you fucking please pay attention to history before you repeat it and become hate mongering people that just hate everybody else that, you know, are you, you know, it's gonna be like that. What was that movie where we had this invasion, right? And the dude who played Todd in Breaking Bad was in it. What the fuck's his name? Great scene. And he's like standing there with his gun. He has the ability to shoot these people. Like, it's so disgusting. Like, you need to realize that's the epitome of a racist. That's the point. He has the ability to just let him go. It's only him. And he's actually standing there asking what side they're on. And if they're on the wrong side, you know, he's the most fucking Confederate douche fucking bag of them all. He's just gonna shoot him. Yeah. So you realize part of the issue is that movies and stuff like that are used in other countries as propaganda tools. They will actually, like, tell people in their country that happened or something like that. That, like, this is, you know, it's all, remember, they want to be very authentic. So this happened. Okay, that didn't happen, guys. We were never like our homeland was never actually like invaded. The one time that happened, again, I've told you, Pearl Harbor, and we bombed and nuked the fucking hell out of 2 Japanese cities after that happened. Nobody did it ever again. That's what happened. It's just the truth. They realized, yeah, we ain't and again, we realized it too. We shouldn't have, we were like unprepared for the destruction of a nuke. And that was back then. We got nukes that the size would scare you. In comparison to what we had then, they are massive. Oh my god, they could cause Armageddon if we set them off sort of massive. Like, they're the North Korea is probably causing a lot of the earthquakes in Japan. Where there's a fault line? Yeah, because they're testing nukes. Yeah. So how they just had Japan just had an earthquake? There's a fault line there. Where's our fault line? There's even a GTA game. There you go. There's even a GTA. What's it called? What's you don't see, none of you even know. You don't even know. You don't know the significance of San Andreas. You have no idea the significance, do you? The San Andreas Fault. That is literally the concern where California could literally just snap right off the United States. And we would have tidal waves beyond belief. And it would be a set of islands after that. It would just break apart. Yeah, the San Andreas Fault. And meanwhile, oh, that's right. Where do we set off nukes? Oh. Oh, because we're fucking stupid. Oh, that's right. Okay, we set them off in New Mexico. Okay, in case you didn't, we set them off in New Mexico. All right, in case you're dumb and I need to tell you that you don't fucking know, we set them off in New Mexico. That's too fucking close. What? How about Oh, right, you can't do it in Montana because Canada won't let you. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Canada won't let you. That's right. Oh, now we're removing likes. Oh, we're so fucking stupid. We live in North Korea and we actually believe that Canada's part of the United States. We're actually falling for the bullshit. Guys, I mean literally it's this basic. Canada. It literally fucking says it right here. Canada. Canada. Why does it say that? United States. Canada. Duh. Durka durkity durkity dur. They really do this. And I feel like you guys don't give these ridiculous countries enough credit for how good they are at disinforming people, where they'll find out about this and they'll have to disinform them. They are quite good at it. That's how they're doing it even here. Because they're doing it with our fucking social media. I opened this like 12 hours ago and I'm just drinking it. No, I'm just kidding. I opened it like right at the start of the stream. But anyway, I'm just exaggerating. The point is that, I mean, this is pretty basic stuff, guys. Here. Here. I'm going to do this for you. Since you live in another country and you're spying, I'm going to do this for you because you're misinformed and you're stupid and you need to know it. Sorry, it's just the truth. Oh, did I hurt your precious little feelings? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Canada. Right there it is. There's your Google search right there. All I did was search Google. Canada. Right there. Canada is a country in North America. Its 10 provinces and 3 territories extend from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and northward into the Atlantic Ocean, making it the second largest country by total area with the longest coastline of any country. Again, the largest country in the world being Russia. And I truthfully believe that Russia runs misinformation on this because Russia claims that the United States is the largest country in the world, while lying and saying that Canada is part of it. It's not. It's part of the North American continent. The continent is the landmass. So Russia is part of the Asian continent. It isn't all of Asia, just like China's not all of Asia. It's part of the Asian continent. Okay, North America is a continent. The United States is the country. This is how they're confusing you. We have separations because a continent is simply a landmass. An archipelago, right? That's how you say that? I don't want to say it wrong. That's the set of islands, like the Philippines or something like that. That's not a continent, it's a set of islands, Japan. Okay. So that's what we call that too. We separate them, we have terms for them because the whole fucking continent isn't the damn country. That's never the case. Never. Okay? They divide and conquer too. All right? They always have. And unfortunately, this is human behavior. Okay? So we all got to figure out how to get along in the modern day. We don't need to divide and conquer anymore. We are nations, and we tried the United Nations, but other nations really want to fuck that up, especially Russia. They really want to break up the United Nations and NATO. NATO is the peace of the world. They are a combined military effort to simply offer aid to countries that are attacked. They do not attack. They use that funding to offer aid to those that are attacked. For example, the Ukraine. Ukraine was attacked by Russia. NATO offers aid to Ukraine. So then that looks like us, the United Kingdom, and various other countries helping by, you know, giving some troops here and there, maybe some weapons, stuff like that. Usually not troops, but definitely weapons, definitely technology helping out. Why did North Korea give its troops to Russia? So that Russia could use them like fucking cannon fodder. We all knew that was coming. I called that. These people are so misinformed. And even a North Korean defector himself is admitting on stream that they tell them to go out and die. So It's built in. They don't care that they're being told to do that. They should. You're being lied to. Yeah, the US didn't start that war between North and South Korea. That's a blatant fucking bold-faced lie. Korea started it. You guys started it. South Korea? That's them just trying to embrace what we've been doing over here. Building up, giving people a choice to have a job, to have their own life, to think individually. This matters. That's our step forward. Individual thinking. It's a freedom. You do have it. But since the beginning of time, the Roman Empire being one of the most prominent examples in history of meddling with free thought. You won't think unless I tell you to. It's not okay. Our government does this to a point. But it's not like we don't educate where we have it built into at a young age get people to hate North Koreans or really anybody. We don't do that. That's what's important to remember. We don't teach people to hate. We simply try to, and we've had a history of trying to spread this thing that we, like where people we don't want people to like communism, where it would cause you to do what they've done in North Korea. But we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that anymore, and we shouldn't force ideals on the next generation. Whatever they do, they do. Educate, though, why it's a bad thing. Remind them every step of the way. And as it interferes with your life and your everyday lives, and they start embracing autocracy or oligarchy, tell them, show them how it is. Remind them. This eliminates middle class. This is a country not surviving. There's no economy here. You're going to have very rich people that stay rich, and they hoard all the money, and everybody else will be poor. In North Korea, that's simply just Kim Jong-un. And maybe like a couple of people in Pyongyang. The rest of the country is impoverished. And starving, too. You have this just sitting on my desk. A candy bar. Yeah, man, like that. There's parts of North Korea where, like, man, somebody would be jumping up and down if they got a candy bar. It's full of protein. Seriously. This messed up. That their people can't even have a regular economy. Russia has elections. They're supposed to. The Russian elections are in favor of Putin, and he assassinates anybody that is gonna he did this before where a guy was gonna testify against him for meddling in their elections, and very shortly before that happened, he was assassinated in public. This has happened before. I mean, Russia does this too. where again they just put pressure on North Korea because they can. It's not okay. Now, never did I hear a more true or accurate piece of information, and that gives a blatant definition of what propaganda is as this. Okay, are you ready? Do you want to know what propaganda is at its core? Do you want to be able to recognize it at its core? See it anywhere you go? Remember this. The demilitarized zone actually exists. That's a real name of a place between North and South Korea that's actually called the demilitarized zone. And do you want to know what it has in it? Probably the most militarized zone in all of the fucking planet. It's just blatantly a lie. It is literally the most obvious propaganda bullshit lie you've ever heard. So that way, oh, it's the border, it's demilitarized. It's all happy fun time and stuff. But don't go there. Forbidden. But demilitarized. Stay away. You too, American tourists, get back in your hotel room with your guide and your barred windows. And by the way, when you come here from now on, you can't go into normal places, because we have to tell all our people not to even look at you and stuff like that. We don't want to be doing this anymore. Now you got to let us know, and we're gonna have an entire town sectioned off, and you're just gonna stay in this one little town area. That's right, and that's it. They didn't do that before. And a certain movie gave him an idea to do that, and then they did it. Yeah. And he hated that too, the interview. He hated that too. He hated that movie. Hated it. But then after that, they didn't have that. They didn't actually do that. What they would do is watch people and have spotters and just like tell people they couldn't look at you and stuff. It was just a regular, like they have so mind controlled the public. All they got to do is put it in the newspaper and everybody knows what to do. That's all they got to do. Just put it in a newspaper and they know what to do. Because you're going to Pyongyang, you're not going anywhere else. So in Pyongyang, people follow the rules. Or they're, beaten. Yeah. So now they do that. Now they just have an area that they section off and you stay there. And you can't leave your hotel without your guide, yada, yada, yada. Before that really wasn't the case. Like you could leave your hotel, but they would sort of like keep an eye on you. Nope. Not anymore. So anyway, think about just how like regular everyday people in this other country are lied to, manipulated, and stuff like that. Even at a young age. So what do they think about us? The point is, they probably assume it might be something similar. If they did that to us, how do I know it's any different anywhere else? Again, if you go to South Korea and you see that and you know about that, there's a reason that happened. They have an example too. Japan's a free country as well. China's China's very leaning communist these days. They weren't for a while, but they are very much leaning communist these days. Just realize it's not real communism, though. because that doesn't like communism doesn't work. They can't. The concept of it is that you give everybody a fair amount and stuff, like it's divided evenly, and it's just it doesn't work. That will never work. Okay. Um. If you have a group of people, um, these group of people are going about themselves throughout the day. Let's say you have, out of those 5 people, you have 1 fat person, okay? And out of these people, everybody else is seemingly, their weight's okay. They're not, it's fine. But now this fat person, they can't do anything about that. They just sort of are that way. Or maybe they're a really big person, they just need to eat a lot of food or something like that. It's that simple. But the point is they're going to consume more. They just will. So now you're going to tell that fat person they have to die. Because a fat person can't just suddenly not consume what they normally do. This would be a huge change to their diet. And their blood sugar would plummet. It would do immediately what a diabetic has to worry about. So the point is, they won't do that. They're going to have symptoms. They're just not going to do it. So in a civilized society where you have people and stuff like that, the more somebody becomes connected and does things and stuff like that, obviously, the more they consume, the more they do, possibly. Okay, in the modern day, we can do things about this because we're aware of it. But that is just generally what happens. So when you just like in the United States, consume more than you can produce, obviously we need the outside world. We need to make trade, too. Where you have examples of China, where there's like a third of the planet right there. Right there in China. And just never, they could never survive without the rest of the planet. and a similar situation in North Korea where they don't even have the space for the farmland, and not only that, they have no shipping. They don't let anybody in or out. They're starving. And their people are just thin and have never evolved and matured like some of those folks in South Korea that you now see, where like some of them are. They're taller. They look more American, don't they? They have jaw lines, fashioned hair. You get it? They've had generations now that have been past that malnourishment to where they're at a point that they just live this way and don't even really think about it. It's just how they are, just how they look. So as soon as a North Korean kind of sees that, they immediately, it's very visual. That's what was happening when our Americans were visiting them and they were seeing how large we were and stuff like that. It started scaring them at first, obviously, because of the misinformation that they're told about us. I mean, like, what do they think? You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole point is that most, like, they don't attack us. We for one thing, we've always had pretty much the best air force and stuff, like we've pretty much outgunned everybody, and we're in a very strategic situation here where it'd be very hard to attack the US. And so again, one time they did was conveniently when all that other shit was going on. So, you know, that was obviously the end of the war when we did that. And no, everybody's been sort of afraid. And look, The point is you don't make people afraid. You don't abuse that technology. And we never did, in my opinion. And we had examples of plenty of people not doing that and coming in and seemingly, while they may seem to disagree with the leader previously, they come in and end up at the same conclusion where they do the job and they go, I see why he was thinking that way now. And the current guy, he comes in and doesn't do that. Yeah, it's like he takes more advantage of you. So that's somebody that's easy to manipulate. That's a moron being manipulated by the enemy. So anyway, if their education was good in North Korea, Kim Jong Un would have been educated there. He wasn't. If they were smart and they knew things, he would have been educated there. He wasn't. He was educated in Switzerland. I've said this before, but it's true. And he was very smart, very, very smart. Um, always flew ahead. I think of his classmates, paid attention, did his studies. They actually could pull him out early, I guess, and they did. And so that's why, like, he is smarter than them and knows things they don't know because he's spent time in Europe. That's where Switzerland is. Europe. That's separate from all this shit that they haven't figured out because that's where Germany is, because that's what happened with the Nazis. That was World War II. That's why Europe figured it out. Because the Nazis, Nazi Germany, they tried to take over everybody, all of Europe and the rest of the world. That's why they won't let that happen again. The Berlin Wall coming down was very symbolic. Yeah, Europe's never going to make that mistake. And the UK plays a role in that too. But that's why the United Nations happened and NATO happened in the first place is, just that sense of everybody trying to get each other's backs. Where look, we're already communicating and trading and stuff like that. Let's make sure the Soviet Union doesn't actually happen again. Because the Cold War was the longest running war in history. That was the Soviet Union. And that was longer than World War One and Two and all that. I mean, it was all through. And that was the Soviet Union. That was Russia. Russia was the Soviet Union. And so, like, they don't tell North Koreans that. They hear terms like this from us. Maybe they're listening or something. They hear terms they're like, what the fuck's the Soviet Union? What does that mean? That's what Russia was before they were called Russia, and they were the bad guys. And they're literally forcing communism and just taking it. That Ukraine wasn't Ukraine. It was part of the Soviet Union. All that stuff. Romania too, I think, right? All that shit was just literally the Soviet Union. There's examples of it in history, of it changing names. The Beatles even had a song called "Back in the USSR." It's just called that for a while. It was a republic, right? I forget exactly. I think it might have been United was the first word, but it was a republic for a while. I think was what they're. I think that's what you could look it up, but it didn't stick very long. I think Putin came into play and it was back to Russia, right? I think that's what it was. I think. But I just know I think, but maybe even Yeltsin, but because him and Yeltsin agreed on a lot of things, but um the Soviet Union is the enemy to the world. They are not to be trusted. They don't care. They will they will abandon you and betray you. Um And if somebody's trying to tell you your family's going to get taken care of because you're going into a war between Russia and Ukraine and you're not even part of that, look, I promise you, if you're in another country and you're hearing anything about going to war with or for Russia, just remember that you do not listen to a single goddamn thing Russia says. Don't listen to a single thing they say because it's just not going to be true. It's just going to be lies. Um, a lot of why I think they attacked is because Ukraine was working on some very advanced, their science department was very advanced. And they proved that with their advancement, their rapid advancement in the war. Holy cow. I think that they were secretly working with our government, with scientists, secretly on some covert technologies. And I think Russia knew that. And they simply attacked, knowing that the US would be that much ahead of the rest of the world if they finished this. I think that's what happened. Um, so we've always been ahead of the rest of the world. So that's what you have to realize about that. Like saying that we're gonna suddenly, okay, we've always been there. Okay, so like that would be a good thing. All right, that would mean things get better and keep, like that's the point. We want that to happen. We have shown responsibility with a large, vast military and technology because we have freedom of choice. We have everybody else chiming in saying we don't agree with that. That's what you want. Okay? You want the masses. You want that's democracy. That is everybody votes. Everybody gets a say. That's what you want. Don't confuse that with a mob. Mob is the few. It's not the many. And if you're doing that, well, in your head, you are already putting it on everybody else that they are inherently evil. And that's you doing that. You do that. That's the psychology behind that. You are turning the public into the angry mob when you do that. And you're saying that democracy is the angry mob. That's you doing that. They're not. People are inherently good. They are. Unless you do that. Because the moment you do that, that person's not going to trust you. Because you're showing that you don't trust people inherently. So why would they trust you? I would agree with it. I would agree. Because that's what it means. That's what it means on the battlefield at the end of the day. Between two people, like where it's, if we're talking cowboys and aliens, great example. Where all these people hated each other, but boy, did they come together for a cause. Love that fucking movie, by the way. Love that movie. Daniel Craig's freaking amazing. Love Harrison Ford too, but that's exactly that. The perfect. Where at the end of the day, these people aren't really evil. They just have different ways of going about things. Okay. All right. Right now, it's almost like all those people that instead of doing what they should, they're being manipulated to work with them aliens or something like that. That's what you got to worry about. You got to worry about that. Russia. Russia. Russia, or the Russian Federation, is a country in Eastern Europe and North Asia. That's true. It does extend into Europe a little bit. It is the largest country in the world, spanning 11 time zones and sharing land borders with 14 countries. So we've talked about this. We have talked about this. Why do we see this so often? Why do I see yeah, and as soon as I go to show you it's fixed. Why do I see 9 and 9 and then I saw 10 and 10 line up with each other too? Why am I seeing this so often? And then you hit the confetti button. Why am I seeing that? So anyway, this is Russia. And again, this is just a Google search I did here. Okay? President Vladimir Putin. Oh, okay. So again, he is a president. They have elections. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah. He's not prime minister. He's not dictator, supreme leader. He is President Vladimir Putin. Interesting, huh? Yeah. Russia. Shit country. Shit country. Where they're poor and lots of shit's going down all the time because they don't have a president that cares at all about their infrastructure, about anything that's going on. He just cares about randomly attacking Ukraine because he wants to steal their infrastructure and all their technology. If he can just take over their country because he bankrupted his and didn't allow free thought. So, his plan was to take over Ukraine, and then he would have a base for intelligence. Separate. And he can actually even undermine his own people. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's probably why he wanted to do that shit, huh? Yep. Another reason you do not want China to have Taiwan. Taiwan needs to be Taiwan. Yep. I'll be right back. I gotta do something. Oh my god. So, basically what we're gonna you have to realize that a lot of what's going on in the gaming industry and even with the tech industry has a lot more to do with the pressure that is being put on them by some of these countries that have the ability to do that, to put that pressure on. So, like, for example, like putting putting a bunch of chips through China for some reason. You get what I'm saying? And so I've said this before, but I definitely think it's true. And again, what Microsoft is doing here is they are definitively um sabotaging people that run one system, one PC, so that it has all these problems. It shouldn't, but it does. The hardware is running things fine. You don't need a second PC. You really don't. But it's running it like shit because the framework's designed like that. So that way, you go out and you buy a whole nother one because you need that extra one. And that's another thing for them to spy on with other more data running through there. They have two devices now they can push data through and spy on your shit and confirm these things versus one. So it's a very manipulative way to get you to buy a second device just so they can sell more Windows copies. And then again, the PC companies, they love it because they just know they're moving more PCs. So it's literally just the manipulation of getting these people on board with thinking that you need this. You absolutely have to have a second. No, you don't. I mean, for Christ's sake, I was doing it on a freaking 1060, a GTX 1060 when I first started streaming. No problems. Ran fine. Went up to the 3060, the RTX, ran fine. That was great. And on the next that 5 series, I don't know that it was the 4, but the 5 series, that's the one where if you have this, they have it. And again, it's not Nvidia, but it's literally it is it is communicating with the stuff that they build in there to intentionally use more than it should all the time. Like that card is so fucking good. It should be able to do 3 of those games on top of each other. Like like essentially should have been running at about probably the third of the GPU usage that it was. So the point is, it doesn't actually do that. Like I was proving that along the way, and every time I do this, it gets a little more bogged down, a little more bogged down. There's something else that breaks. The stream software breaks. The stream, things in the stream software start bogging it down more. Like again, why would a bunch of shit on the screen have any fucking thing to do with that bit rate whatsoever? That bit rate is set to what it's set to. No matter what the fuck is on that screen, that bit rate should not be shifting around all over the goddamn fucking place for any reason at all whatsoever. It has to be designed to do that. It is a separate thing. You're just sending information. Why does all of a sudden a whole bunch of shit on the screen suddenly change the information that you're sending? It doesn't. It's still going to send the information. Let's suddenly change it. It's just that bit rate, that amount of information. So if there's a whole bunch of shit, yeah, it might look a little bit worse for you that's watching it because it's only going to send so much. But for one thing, it will not change the bit rate. Again, something has to act to do that. It isn't the simple act of just, well, you know, in Vampire Survivors, you know, as more shit happens and I move around more, you know. No! What the fuck? That never happened. It shouldn't happen. It wasn't happening for the longest fucking time until, oh yeah, all of a sudden, Windows 11. Yep, all of a sudden, trash Windows 11. So they're definitively breaking these things to get you, to manipulate you to believe that, you know, you just need another PC. That's just not enough. Yeah, you need liquid cooling. It's getting too hot. Fans don't cut it anymore. You need liquid cooling. Give me a fucking break. It's absurd. So, Russia. Russia is trash. Although that says semi-presidential system. Yeah, they have an election process. Constitutional republic. Yeah. Yep. Yep, they're totally voting for Putin every time. Totally. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, he's leading them to victory. What a joke. What a fucking joke. This guy's been president since like 85, right? Something like that. So like Mitch McConnell being in Senate since 85. This is fucking absurd, by the way. But like how is he president that long when you claim that you have a constitutional republic? What's constitutional about that? That guy shouldn't be in office anymore. Since the 80s? What the hell? So, when we had Bush the first Bush. Holy shit. I mean, the guy's basically been the guy's basically been president for as long as I've been alive. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck? Vladimir Putin, 73 years old. 73 years old. You know, Donald Trump only has like 7 years on him, and that guy looks fucking terrible. Now, it's important to remember that Putin's health, he has cancer. We've known about this for years. This guy, he runs misinformation campaigns about his health. He hates this shit. But yeah, it's believed that he has cancer. And he's had all kinds of treatments, very, very expensive stuff. And you know, that he's sort of barely kind of barely hanging on as it is. So I wonder how much of the war in Ukraine may have been about them possibly finding a cure for cancer once and for all, and Putin wanting to try to stop that. Maybe. But regardless, oh, he was only president since 2012. Oh, prime minister. So they changed. They just changed the. See, I thought it was since the 80s. Let me look this up now. Oh, it says it right here. Okay, I thought it was since the 80s. See, I was wrong about that. Here, let me. I don't want to. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna click something, and it takes me to somewhere that. You get what I'm saying? My fault. I don't know who I was thinking of Mitch McConnell, I guess. Mitch McConnell's such a piece of shit. All right. I mean, that's still a really long fucking time, though. Yeah. So again, he hasn't been. It's not been since 2012. That's wrong. Okay. So like, if you look here, in office December 31st, and I remember this now. I think the reason it says that too is because wasn't that the day they declared the end of the Cold War, right? So they needed to appoint somebody. And so that was technically like the exact member, right? Wasn't that the idea? And so they appointed somebody. So technically, he was prime minister, I think, at the time until they changed it. And then that's part of the misinformation. So it says assumed office 2012, but that's just not the case because it literally says right here in office. But it also says that about Dmitry. Yeah, I believe that. It says it right here. So I think that I think it is saying that. And so yeah, I was wrong about I'm sorry, being in the 80s, but that's a really long time. Bush Jr. was in office. George W. Bush would have been in office. So maybe I'm confusing that with 89 then. Hold on. Maybe that's why I'm saying, hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was 89. I'm confusing the end of the Cold War with the end of the 90s. My fault. That's what I was just talking about, the end of the Cold War. Um, because that was when the Berlin Wall came down and everything. Um, so yeah, my fault. I'm confusing it with that. So that's not why this happened. That was a whole 10 years prior to this. Um, this is just I think him and Boris Yeltsin were friends, right? If I remember correctly, he was close with Boris Yeltsin. And that was that picture I shared with you guys where we had um an example of our presidents actually being there for him and stuff like that at that funeral, and just a different time in Russian history where we were trying to kind of get along, and Putin came in and that wasn't going to be the case. Um yeah, incumbent. Yeah, he's incumbent. Just literally just permanently cuz they're not going to elect anybody else. He'll just assassinate him. So, largest country in the world, Russia. So here's North Korea. North Korea. Um, yep, dictatorship. Yep. So socialist state. Yep. Totalitarianism, communist. Yep. All that. Now remember, socialist is a communist. Socialism is a system of governing that can be adapted and used. There's a difference. Calling somebody a socialist is a term for a communist. Okay? Socialism is different. Yeah, it's sort of like capitalism. It'd be like if you tried to be a capitalist where all you did is capitalize on other people. Well, that's fucking dictator. That's the rich asshole billionaires. Okay? That's what happens when you embrace one fucking thing and just all of it instead of multiple things. So again, if you just embrace socialism by itself and don't allow anything else, yeah, this is one of fucking everything, and but again, if you just embrace some of it, a little bit of it, it's just regulation. It's embracing those concepts of understanding what is necessary instead of having gigantic fucking markets of scam products that are on the shelves for people to fall victim to, that just scam you, sell your data, and yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. That's where you embrace socialism in society. And again, these are two separate things because um, we teach in history about a socialist. Again, that's It's different. Communist, again, would be somebody that embraces that communism. Okay, but again, communism itself is all or nothing. That's the whole point. So that's why it's not really communism when China's doing what they're doing, because it's not actually communist. The whole point is they're embracing some democratic processes while denying that they're doing that. No, they are, because they have free trade and stuff like that. They're trading with people and stuff like that. Um, Xi Jinping makes a shitload of money. That guy is worth a lot of money. Look it up. He's not a commie taking a wage that is, for exactly the same wage that a president should take, and no more, no less. No, he's lying. He's him and all the rich people, and it's an oligarchy, just like here. They get fucking paid. Why am I seeing nonstop this shit? Why this shit? Why am I seeing this? Likes just come off. 8. They were at 8. Now we're down at 6. They're just removing them. As soon as I insult Xi Jinping, why am I seeing this? Yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah. So anyway, North Korea is a very small country. There it is. We've talked about this before. Very small country, not very large at all. This is maybe the size of a few U.S. states put together. And if you put Pennsylvania and like maybe one or two other states together, you get all of North Korea. That's it. That's how big it is. So there's 50 U.S. states. Okay. There's plenty of states bigger than I don't know about plenty. There's uh there's a number of states bigger than Pennsylvania. Okay. Texas, Alaska, California. All of them. All of them are bigger than Pennsylvania. I think even Kansas might be bigger. Like a lot of those middle states, Montana. Yep. They would have North Koreans believe. So again, we've done this a bajillion times, obviously, but me a sec here. Damn it. Why is that doing that? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Alright. So we've done this before, but let's do it again. This is the planet. This is the North American continent. Right there. Again, we're just looking at satellite. This is literally the satellite from NASA. Okay? So literally just staring at the planet. This is North American continent. This is the United States. That's Mexico. That's Canada. Alaska's right here. Okay? This is Russia. This is all of Russia. Here, let me, can I just get this? No, that's not what I want. No. 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 I'm trying to... Is it doing that? Hold on a sec. It's being really weird now. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry. This is Russia, as you can see. So if we look again at a map here, okay, this is the North American continent. Okay, I shouldn't have to explain this, but this is the North American continent, okay? That's how fucking big that shit is. Canada's there, second largest country in the planet. This is still the United States. That's Alaska up here. That's our biggest state, okay? This is Russia right here. This gigantic landmass that goes all the way across Asia. And again, as Google pointed out, into Europe here. I still don't really say that's Europe, but because I consider that the Asian continent. But I guess again, probably from here over is pretty much Europe. So, so I understand why they're saying that. But it is one landmass. We just separate Europe from that because of the differences in society, just huge societal differences. So the whole point is this is Asia and this is Europe. That's Africa. Okay, we separate them as continents, but again, this is Russia. So while this is the North American continent, and you think of Americans as Americans, again, we are the United States is where Americans, you would call Americans from. We're not just from Canada or no, Canadians are from Canada. That is a separate country. Mexico, that's Spanish people. That they speak Spanish there. Okay, that's not America. This is the North American continent. Just like this is Central America right here. That's called Central America. So while this is Mexico right here, this is actually called Central America. There are no Americans there. You wouldn't call them Americans. This is the misinformation. There's a bunch of fucking Spanish people down here. Just like in South America and the South American continent, you have Brazil, you have Venezuela, which, by the way, Trump invaded. You have Colombia, where all the coffee is from. You have Argentina, which is down here. You have Chile. Okay? This is a continent. It's not America. It's just called the South American continent, just as this is called the North American. It literally says it right there. Okay? This is Africa. This is Australia. But Australia just happens to be that country. That whole continent is that country. Same thing with New Zealand, way down here. Okay? That's not the case with us. And with most of the planet, it's not the case. That's the misinformation that I think they're spreading, where they want everybody to think this is America because we protect that. Because bad guys heading into this continent go up here and come up through there. We know that. But it's not all of them. It's very few. But again, that's why we protect it. And these are our waters, okay? So North Korea is here. That's North Korea. That's how fucking small North Korea is. Again, here is China. A third of the planet is in China. There ain't even 1 billion people in the United States. And there's 2 fucking billion people in China. Well, almost. There ain't 2 billion yet, but there's gonna be. There's over 1 billion in China. And there ain't even 1 billion people in the US. And all these people are jammed into this. And even China is significantly bigger than North Korea. All right, here, let's do this. How many North Koreas would fit inside China? Approximately 80 North Koreas would fit inside China. Okay? Approximately 80 North Koreas would fit inside China. There it is. Okay? All I did was Google search it. Right there it is. China's total area, approximately. There's the square mileage. Here's North Korea's square mileage. Okay? We're in the millions for China, and we're barely in the hundreds of thousands for North Korea. Okay? And China's pretty big. It might be like you can't even fit one full China inside the United States. Yeah. China is very close to the same size as the United States. I didn't even realize that. Look at this. Very, very close. Look at this. United States, 9.8 million square miles. China, 9.5 million square miles. We are so close to the same size. I didn't even realize that. Yeah. China's huge. So when you're looking at that map, when we're looking at this map and we're looking at this is actually relatively the size of the United States, China, when you're looking at it. So that's how much bigger Russia is compared to the United States. All you got to do is look at China, and it's basically the same size as the United States, and then compare that with China, with Russia. Yeah. How many Chinas fit inside Russia? 1.78 Chinas can fit. So basically, one China and then like, you know, zero point 0.7 of the rest. So 70% of the rest of China. So again, a whole China, a whole China fits inside here, plus another 70% of another China fits inside Russia. That's how big Russia is. And North Korea is convincing their people that, you know, they're like the biggest, baddest. You know, like the point is, we probably got some nukes that would span, you know, if we just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd just be a giant fireball. So, like, that's the reality. And Kim Jong Un knows that. He knows this because he went to school over here. That's where he went to school, right there in Europe, right next to France, between Italy and France and Germany. That's where I went to school, right there. Way over here, where it's very, 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 very Western influence. So, you know, had all that intelligence, but then was carted back here to just run a regime. And look at South Korea, all built up, all these roads. There's Seoul, all these roads, all these ports and stuff. We've already pulled up the maritime, you know, where all the ships are going and stuff like that. We can do that too, and you will see they're all over the place, all over the world. Like every country is doing this, even Russia and North Korea. It's got nothing, nothing. They got some stuff going like up here to like Russia, and every once in a while you see some stuff going over here, you know, like Beijing area. And that's it. That's a shame because I love China, but I do not love communism. I hate it. It should be hated. It's a lie. It's propaganda at its core. And a smarter person knows that. Look how big Mongolia is too. There's nothing there. So I wonder if that's because Russia and China and Kazakhstan all surround it. Kazakhstan is, ooh, ooh. They're not ooh. I mean, there's some there you know, it's not too bad, but they're not, you know, they need help. Um Turkmenistan is bad. They're just bad, 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 bad. Kazakhstan just has a lot of issues that they need help with, and they're surrounded by all these problems. So here's Ukraine. Every one of these North Koreans, they're being carted from here to here. Here's Ukraine, and here's Russia. They just literally just decided one day to attack Ukraine, who's part of Europe. You gotta remember, Kim Jong-un even studied and went to school over here, and Ukraine is right here. They're helping the largest country in the world randomly attack this, I mean, it's not small, but smaller by comparison country that is minding their own business with all these people, all these cities. They have a sea of their own. They got all these ports and stuff. They got another Black Sea here. No, he wants this. This is very strategic for him. He wants this. Now that's influence into Egypt. He wants that. He wants influence into Turkey, which is influence into Egypt and Africa. That's what he wants. He wants influence into Turkey. He always wanted that. Georgia's right there too. So, I mean, like, there's just nonstop lying out there. Like, I mean, the interview got it right, where the reality is he outlaws this stuff, but you got to realize he listens to it. He can listen to K-pop if he wants. In fact, this douchebag claims this is a terrible thing to do, but I know of a certain K-pop group that was like sort of forced into performing for him privately. And if you know anything about probably what they had to do while performing privately for him because of who he is, you probably know what that means. It's not the usual sort of thing. So he has the audacity to do that, and you guys would never find out about that. Like, that's the point. Like, he does things like that. And that guy has a massive, like, Rolex collection, and he buys cheeses from Switzerland, for Christ's sake, that are more expensive than, some people spend on a fucking car sometimes. Yeah. Like wine and cheese and stuff. It's disgusting. It's just wine. You gonna pay a shitload of money and give yourself a headache? What the fuck's the matter with you? What? Seriously, what the fuck is the matter with you? So, movies like, again, like The Interview, where he got pissed off at this. No, you have to realize that, like, they got it right. That's why he gets pissed off. Like, sort of like where they go into the tank, and he's trying to pretend to be their friends. He's trying to pretend to be their friend, and the funny thing is, James Franco's character finds, Katy Perry, of all things, firework. Like he pushes it, and it's just Katy Perry in the tank, of all things, and he acts all embarrassed and stuff like that. He's like, "Don't tell anybody." And then the whole next scene is them blowing shit up in a tank to Katy Perry's firework. And you have to realize it's probably the reality. The reality is this guy can listen to whatever the fuck he wants and have fun with his goddamn tanks and shit like that. But if you want to listen to it, oh man. Oh man. What the fuck? What? It's it's music. What the hell? Also, listen here. Listen here. On the K-pop realm, listen. When you sell aespa albums in your store and you sell out, you don't push the BTS albums over and fill up the spot with the BTS albums. You don't fucking do that. You order more albums because people want aespa. They don't want you to push the BTS ones over so that you accidentally buy the BTS one. They don't want you to fucking do that. Yeah, because BTS is smart and doesn't put BTS on there thinking you might actually mistakenly buy it. Yep, that's why that's why they're doing it. Nobody wants this. Nobody fucking cares. How about actually giving some attention to groups that deserve it? Super Junior's been breaking records and been doing this. They were the first group for first K-pop group to perform in the United States. Did you know that? They've been breaking records. They've been out since literally fucking 2006. And they're still doing it. And you can oh, BTS. So because like the really fucking young teeny bop generation told you to, that's what we call them, by the way. That's what they were called. Yeah. They were called teeny boppers, remember? So that you just listen whatever the fuck they say because it sells albums. Yeah, except then when their music turns to shit, they don't know what they did wrong. It just turns to shit, and then you sit here and be like, well, it's just as good as it ever was. It's still BTS. No, it isn't. Tell them that. It's fucking shit. They're not doing anything complicated except their dance routine. I want to hear them sing for once. I don't want to hear auto-tune. What the fuck? Whatever happened to a smooth bass line being the entire reason for the melody to be carried? You know, that's why I like FBI's, right? Like, yes, while that's a funny joke, actually the song's pretty good. I was surprised that the AI did that. Like, I did that with AI, I guess? I don't... Yeah, it's actually a pretty smooth bass line in that. Yeah. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. It's actually pretty catchy. That's why it works. What's wrong with that? No, but you just want to sell these people as fashion people or something like I don't even understand what it is. But regardless, You sell out as some aespa albums, fucking stock the aespa albums so that band sells their album. Stop pushing BTS over and endlessly making them the number one. You do the same thing with the Rolling Stones. This is why they sold albums too. They didn't sell albums because people actually fucking listened to it. Mick Jagger wouldn't fucking care. He didn't care. No, they got enough popularity, didn't care. The point is, it's endless, repetitive advertisements. It's very marketable stuff. There's a gigantic mouth with a tongue sticking out. People love that shit. Sell it to women. They love it. Guns N' Roses. Oh, there's some Guns and some Roses on there. Oh, it's really fucking metal. But meanwhile, the guy that sings for him, he sounds like shit, and he sounded like shit since fucking 1990 something. The guy can't fucking sing for goddamn fucking shit. But, you know, we're going to sell albums like crazy because Slash, he can actually fucking play. And the rest of the band, they're pretty good too. But this Axl guy, he's going to ruin everything for them. And he's going to sound like fucking shit. He's going to sing way outside his range. He can't sing like that. He's going to ruin his own voice. He's going to become a drunk, and he can't sing anymore. And everybody's going to hate him. Ah! Where do we go now? Oh, where do we go? No, 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 no. The fuck is that? Sounds like somebody choking a frog. Sweet child. Have some tone to your voice, buddy. Ah! He used to be able to sing. And then he started doing that, where, like, he just thought he sounded good, and he just didn't. I don't know who was fucking telling him that, but you sound like shit, dude. Yeah, stop drinking. Sound like shit. And then, meanwhile, these are the people that get promoted. And these other people take, you know, people take a back seat. Like, look, I love Ozzy and stuff like that, but it was the same thing where, like, it is big and, you know, like, I mean, like, you know, it's the sort of the same thing where it's like, look, I love Ozzy. He deserves the talent and riches that he had and stuff like that because the guy was talented. But Zakk Wylde does too. What the fuck happened with... Do you remember Book of Shadows? When everybody was like, Zakk, he's the next Ozzy. Everybody was like freaking out. And then when the original Book of Shadows came out, it was sort of a little bit of a marketing... Yeah, it didn't go as well as they'd planned. Why do you think that is? Do you think that had anything to do with his genius writing the music? No, because there's no question about that. It got nothing to do with it, because his music's there. That guy's been a genius, he always will be, and he always takes a back seat because he's humble about it. Oh, they just didn't like it. He's like that. It's not true, though. Not at all. I play songs for people from that shit. They're like, how the fuck have I never heard this? It's so good. Oh, I know. It's frustrating, isn't it? Yeah. It's like all the other Ozzy songs that didn't get played. The reason I like the Zach years and stuff like that is, you know, again, yes, Zach, but nobody ever played it. You all want to listen to the Randy stuff. Why? There's better recording quality on the stuff with Zach. Yeah, it's newer. You want to listen to the original shit because you just, oh, I like the original stuff. It's cool to say that. Yeah, that's why. It's not because it's better. That other stuff Zach did with Ozzy and all that, Jakey Lee as well, that stuff's just as good. Every bit as good. They are. They're just as good as Randy was. Every bit. They are. Both of them. Gus G didn't have enough time to prove that. I'm not going to put him in that. He's good though too. He only did one album, so. So why? Because of the marketing. Yeah, the marketing. Ozzy, unfortunately, was wrong. Now I know a lot about that background. I do because I watched the Osbournes and I watched Ozzy a lot and I watched Zach a lot over the years, so I know why. It's because Zach has the inherent impression that Ozzy is always right about everything. He usually is, but he possesses the ability to be wrong about stuff. Remember, don't ask him; he doesn't know. But listen, you're not gonna sell a shitload of albums just because the album cover looks cool. That's a problem. Break that. Get that the fuck out of your head. You will never sell a million albums just because your album cover looks cool. And not only that, your album covers are fucking stupid half the time. Yeah, I don't know what they are. Just dumb. So like a lot of this is marketing where it's not hitting the right audience where somebody picks it up and they're misled. Like they think it's metal or something, or you know, and they pop it in and it's sort of metal, but it's more like a southern hitch on metal that ends up being like a classic sort of hard rock feel that Zach just nails. But it's very grungy, and like you'd have to know this, and like it may not be your thing, it may be your thing. I just again, I think it has all to do with advertising, where they're reaching that age group of certain people that are just very particular, instead of reaching the people that are open to that. There's plenty of people that are open to it. Yet you're reaching this audience that's hold, let me give you an example. What movie was it? What movie was it? It was a movie. What movie was it? It was Ryan Reynolds, wasn't it? It was somebody. Was it Deadpool? It was somebody. Somebody hit the nail on the head. Fight Club. It was Fight Club. Thank you. Thank you, brain. It was Fight Club. Pop in the DVD for Fight Club. Do you still have it? When you pop it in, what happens when you bring up the menu? Now, I love Fight Club too, but why is this probably again, it was a very hot item and sold. Yeah. Even I wanted to talk about it with people and tell people about it. and wanted people to buy it just because of how funny the menu was. You'd pop it in and think that you just literally bought, was it Legally Blonde? It was some chick flick that was ridiculous. I swear to God, it would play that and make you think that you had, it was so funny. And it worked. I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Did they mislabel the CD?" I was like, "They must have actually mislabeled the," and right as I was about to pull it out, the Fight Club thing came on, and it's the correct one. I think it's Fight Club, right? And cool menu too, because it's like his apartment's adding up all those things in his apartment where he's just, you know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, the point is, yes, funny, but funny in a contagious way. So memes always sell. Remember that, because it's funny. But obviously, you don't want to be a joke all the time. So how do you do this? You can't go thinking forward just as long as it looks cool. Well, what looks cool to you looks cool to somebody. It doesn't look cool. Like I just some people look at your album and be like, "That's lame as shit, man." And what are you thinking? Fuck that guy, right? I agree with you. I agree with you. But if there's a demographic to that, the whole point is you want your market. Yeah, you fuck that guy. But you want your marketing agency and you want the people selling your albums to know who to market it to and how to properly do that so that that way you're not getting involved with that. You're going around that. The most recent one, Perfection, loved it. I love the advertising, the artwork, everything. Order the Black was great too. That was literally their Black album. I don't think people realize that. That was literally their Black album. But like I just feel like some of the albums, like the title and stuff, makes people think that it's not even an album. Like Doom Crew Incorporated, it just sounds like an essential or something, like an entire album. And then the funny thing about that is Doom Crew Inc. was actually a song on an essential album too. So like it's kind of funny how like that works there. I actually really like that song. Um and then Grimmest Hits. It's just funny that like they choose that. You know what I mean? Like I mean whatever. He can, it's his band. I'm just saying like it doesn't sound cool at all. What sounds cool? Grimmest Hits. Yeah. How about just picking one of the titles of the songs and that's the name, you know. Sounds way cooler than Grimmest Hits. All that one shine. Just call it that. Call it that. All that one shine. I'm sorry, but that sounds way cooler than Grimmest Hits. He wouldn't care. I'm just poking fun. But my point is like somebody sees that album, they're gonna think it's a hits album. They're not gonna buy it. So like, you know, obviously people should know that if they know the band, but Aren't you trying to get more people to listen, like new fans and stuff? You know what I mean? So, um, that's I just feel like that's expensive, that's money. So, like, I just feel like, you know, if you have a cool actual cool cover, an actual cool name, you probably maybe sell a million more copies or so, maybe. You never know. It's all about the thumbnail game on YouTube. How many times do you click? And I won't use the AI. I won't do it usually. But how many times do you see a fucking YouTube thumbnail and it's got millions of views and it's literally just some body cam thing, a compilation. You've seen it all before. It shouldn't have millions of views. Like, yes, sometimes they do, but it's very new. It was just uploaded and it's a compilation. And there's an AI thumbnail and it shows like some unearthly thing happening where this could never happen in a million years. There's like a bunch of police cars like on their side and shit like that, and there's like some fucking monster, right? And it's like there's like a Godzilla fucking monster or something like that they're, like coming out of this truck or something like that. And it's like, so some of the most bizarre, crazy moments in body cam police history. Compilation 2026. Hashtag these, this. And so all these fucking views just because of that thumbnail. It's literally the thumbnail. So people click it just because they see this, and it's just immediate. It's just yeah. Do you know do you know why I bought Dragon Forces and Human Rampage? It wasn't because I had Through the Fire and Flames on it. It wasn't the only reason. I mean, it was that. But do you know why way back in the day I bought Dragon Forces and Human Rampage? Look at the album cover. Stop what you're doing and go look at the album cover. People that are visual really appreciate artwork that matches the music they're listening to. They do. They appreciate the artists putting something there where this is how they wanted to present it. So this is where your mind should go versus just like a green fucking cover or, something like that. You get what I'm saying? Now, again, leaving it a little more open ended can be okay. I just, like my point is that you have to take advantage. So, you know, we can use this analogy in real life in a lot of different things that we see and we do with marketing and reality, where, I mean, it's not about, you're not tricking somebody just by putting a cool album cover or something, a flashy. No, it's cool. People want that. You know what I'm saying? Um, I I like the Rolling Stones. I don't have anything against them, by the way. I wasn't trying to pick on them. I just, yeah, it's one of those bands where you see, you see the you see the advertising everywhere for him. Um, but that's okay. You know, AC/DC is another one, and I'm glad for that. Grateful for that. You know, he he likes Zach Wild likes AC/DC a lot. Did you know that? He's an Angus Young fan immensely, just to let you know. Um, but no, I mean Ozzy was Ozzy. He didn't need a cool album cover. He just put a cross on there and put Ozzy on it and say Ozman cometh and sell a bajillion of them because he's Ozzy. The reality is he's Ozzy. So, you know, he can just sort of kind of get away with being, oh, as long as it looks cool. That works for him, yes. He's Ozzy. Everybody can't just do that. You can't. It's not gonna work. And while Ozzy might think that because, you know, he's Ozzy. He might also agree that thinking about it a little bit where he's Ozzy and somebody else is somebody else. Yeah, they might have to work an album cover for their demographic a little bit more versus Ozzy being Ozzy. Okay? He just he's Ozzy. That's it. You're not gonna take that away from him. He is the Prince of Darkness. He owned that. I still loved the probably my favorite, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Ozzy moment like ever was the moment that you know remember and if you've ever watched this movie, by the way, you should watch it, okay? All right? You need to go watch it, okay? Lots of good music, lots of really really good actors, okay? Good movie. But in the movie Little Nicky, Adam Sandler plays, you know, like the devil's son, and he's got a mission. It's a spoiler if you haven't seen it, so turn out of here if you don't want to know and you haven't seen it. But if you don't care or you have, then you know what I'm going to say. Little Nicky, Adam Sandler, had this ball that he like it was last resort. He wasn't supposed to use this, like, you know, was the message like it was something like all you know, like the darkness of mankind is all inside this ball or something. It was something kind of like that, or it's like really only like even telling the devil's son of all people, really really don't use this is like really really bad shit, you know. And so like the whole movie you're just like, man, a lot of shit's happening. When's he gonna use this thing? When's he gonna use this thing? Right? And then, like, literally at the end of the movie, he finally just the, you know, shit's happening. He can't do anything about this, so he's got to use it. He's got to literally use it because the devil has turned himself into this raging, gigantic, bat-like creature that's gonna take over and destroy everybody. Yeah, la, you know, and so he throws it on the ground. And then Ozzy rolls out of it. And it's actually him. He was in the movie. And his reaction was great. Ozzy? That was the best reaction he could have had. Just Ozzy? And then go ahead, Ozzy, bite his freaking head off. Didn't they have Rob Schneider come to do that line too? I can't remember if Rob Schneider did it that time too or not, but very classically they'd have Rob Schneider come and say this line because of his role in The Water Boy, if you remember, and other movies too where he would say this and, like, you know, like give him, I think, was it Billy Madison originally? But he would egg him on as the idea, you know, and so um he was there to do that, and that's what Ozzy did. He grabbed him and bit his head, and like sort of just like a joke out of the whole bat thing. And Ozzy saved the day. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. That was that great Ozzy moment for you if you want to remind yourself of that moment. That's a good that was awesome. I love that, and you have Van Halen right at the beginning of that. Right at the beginning of that movie, you got Van Halen playing right at the beginning. Do 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 do. Just right at the beginning, Little Nicky's jamming to Van Halen. Yeah, yeah, love that shit. So anyway, we're approaching 3 hours. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get out of your hair. America has become China. We are being spied on by China, and Trump's giving it to him on a silver platter. Flock, all that shit. May as well just basically say China's watching your every move, manipulating things behind the scenes. Police, judges. Who knows if it's actually coming from up high anymore, or if it's coming from some fucker in China? Because again, unlawful surveillance is unlawful surveillance. Police wouldn't want other police following them around and keeping track of all their shit they're buying, walking in and out of the store and stuff. Every time you go to Lowe's, every time you go to Walmart, you go to the drive-through. Okay, you wouldn't want it. So, you know, why would you justify using that system? You should speak out about that as much as anybody else's. It definitely affects you and your family and anybody who knows you. Does the car cloning, all that stuff. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.